On today's episode of WatchJRGo, some work happens. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today, like I said before, we are down here, well, Eric's driving right now, but we are down here cleaning out our giant fire from before. So that's all getting scooped up into the dumpster there. We'll probably fill up this dumpster in a couple of minutes here, but it should look really good. You can see where he's got the dirt cleaned up there. It's starting to look nice and natural again. The septic guys just left, and it looks like we're getting a new septic tank next week, which is a little unfortunate, but it's just something that had to happen. They said the lid collapsed and they wanted to replace the whole thing. So we said, go. Some of you may have seen this Bobcat before. And you have, it's Weston Champlin's Bobcat. He's got the good stuff, man. It's a 90 horsepower turbo diesel. If you can use that, well, you're gonna use it. Let me unlock the house and let's go inside. And I know it might be loud in here, but we have a complete house inside here if you take a look. So these walls will be framed up here in a bit. Our bathroom and our utility closet here. Obviously in the last video, we got our new subfloor in there. That's cleaned up. Like I said, the septic guys are coming back to just replace the tank at this point. They're also gonna pull all the cast iron pipe out, which I was gonna have to do, like, you know, the hubless adapter, all that fun stuff. Now, it'll be all PVC for the drain system, just the way it should be. And here is basically a whole house worth of fixtures, everything we need. Bathroom fan to our 60-inch fan to our 50-gallon water heater. I don't know why, but it was the cheapest one. So we have a massive water heater which will endlessly supply hot water to this place. And I know a lot of you guys said go tankless. Every review for electric tankless heaters is horrible. I must have read every review on the internet, and every single person says I've had nothing but problems with their electric tankless. And there's no gas here, so that is the only option. We're doing a tank. This was in the back of the truck as we drove up here last night. Look at all the bugs on that thing. It was taking a beating there. Anyway, there will be no pocket doors. The reasoning for no pocket doors is simple. Eric doesn't like pocket doors. He's vehemently against them. And he builds houses for a living, and he said there's no world where I'll put a pocket door in, and there will also be no barn doors. Barn doors are the worst thing to ever happen to humanity on bathrooms. I stay in a lot of hotels. A lot of them have barn door bathrooms now. And over the next few years, every one of those barn doors is gonna be gone. The hotel operators hate them, the guests hate them, everybody hates barn doors on a bathroom because it lets all the smell out. It lets all the steam out. It does everything wrong for a bathroom. But anyway, it's laid out. Honestly, I think it looks smaller on video because there's no division. Some people mention that this place now looks small, but once we get this thing built out, it will look much bigger. It's bigger than the average studio apartment, so it looks weird now that it's a big open spot. It looks like a huge closet. But very soon, it will look like a house again. Well, by the end of this weekend, because sheetrock's going in 2 weeks. We were able to get matching siding. Check it out. It's the exact same profile that's on the house. So all the siding has to come off today to be replaced. That's gonna get swapped out to the new stuff. We're gonna now change these windows to be super tall, but narrower front windows. Our big kitchen view out window that will take a lot of that space, that should be done today. And those two windows are getting deleted for a single window. And that, of course, many comments said get a mini split. We were already getting a mini split, don't worry. It was just really, really hard to find a mini split with real heat. I guess some of you guys must live in warmer climates. I know down here for a lot of the winter, it will be well below freezing, well below. Mini split heat pumps can typically work to about 4 degrees Fahrenheit ambient. That's like, they consider that a non-low ambient. Down here, we can have very low ambience, in the negatives for a long period. So you have to have a mini split with electric heat. They call it hyperheat or ultra heat, something like that. Everybody has a different name for it. But they pull way more power. That said, they can run in really low ambient temps. So you can't use a heat pump in really low ambient temps. And that's our issue, is that we have really low ambient temps in the Midwest. I mean, well below freezing. So, like I said, we don't want anyone to ever use the fireplace. It's very dangerous, especially in a place that you're renting out. You can't give the public fire in your house. Some people do, we're not going to. That's why I want to delete the fireplace. But yeah, that's how we're gonna solve our HVAC problem. A mini split above the monster window that's gonna go right here. I don't know how big, pretty big. Once that king bed sits in here, I think you'll have tons of room to walk around. Nightstands on both sides. It's honestly, there's plenty of room to pull off what we want. The whole house is gonna get replumbed in PEX A. You can see we got blue and cold for our hot and cold. We got some 3/4 on the way for the main connections and the water heater. I just got on Amazon and had some fun here. So I figured I need this today. Honestly, this is something you just always need. But we got a 4-line laser level here. This was actually a pretty cheap Amazon laser. It was, I think, $200, and it has 4 different 360 lines. So we can cover this house with laser lines all over the place. I'm setting all the new outlet boxes today, which is why I wanted that. So I could just drop that down on the floor at, what, 16 inches or wherever the boxes go at, and then just run around this place and set them as fast as possible. Every outlet in here is gonna be replaced no matter what. All the wires getting replaced. I mean, we're starting over. And to facilitate that, we got 500 foot of 12.2. I know I could run all this in 14.2, but I just don't believe in it. So that was my new laser level. I'm excited about that. Check this out. I haven't even gotten to see this yet. This was, I think, $600. This is the PEX A installation tool. Yeah, there's a hand ratcheting crimper, but I don't want to do that. Since we're doing this all in PEX A or Pro PEX, those are the 2 terms for it, we had to have the expander. This is the best version of PEX to ever exist. We've all heard the wives' tales, the horror stories, of course the boomers that don't believe plumbing can be in plastic, you know, the failed crimps on PEX B, issues like that. PEX A, once it's on, basically never comes apart unless you want it to. I think by far and above it's the best plumbing system in the world. So finally, I'm going to install with that from now on. It's a lot to swallow to buy a $600 tool to do the install, but it should let me plumb this whole house in like 2 hours. All right, let's check this out. I'm pretty excited about it. This is kind of the tool that everybody uses. Look at that, it's already got a battery in it. Huh. Well, let's screw a tool on here. Let's put the 1/2-inch tool on it and see what it does. This thing's pretty self-explanatory, I would say. I've never used it before, but basically put the cone into the little expander, get it back onto the threads, gotta get it started. Obviously, I don't want to tear this thing up. It needs to last the rest of my life. Snug it up and squeeze the trigger. All right, that is super cool. And it came with more M12 batteries. I would have rather had the bare tool, but this was the one I could order from Home Depot, and I was in a hurry. Speaker wire for the insane interior speakers that are going in this thing. There's all the lighting, a whole house filter, because why not? You should always filter the water. And then people were like, get a really nice fan for the bathroom in some comments. Obviously we did exactly that. This is 0.7 sewn. So anyway, this pile was about $5,000 because it includes some things like the direct barrier cable for the service entrance. You know, like that's $400 a wire. You know, the money goes really fast when you're building this stuff. This 3-inch PVC is 60 bucks a stick. The money just disappears. Anyway, let's start putting this stuff in. Tilt back, tilt. Shout out to Weston's Bobcat. This thing is an unstoppable monster. You can see the fence is gone. None of it was even concreted in the ground. We literally just put the bucket under it and lifted, and the wood came right out cleanly. So that's bad. So all the fence, all the trees are gone. For some reason, there's a trench here. We'll show you guys. I'll show you guys as much of this as I can, because a lot of you actually want to see how to do this correctly, and we're going to do it as correctly as possible for for the situation we're working with here. One thing is this meter can, when I opened it to flip the breaker, is completely full of ants. All right, that's probably good. You don't want aerosol, too much aerosol going in there. You might hear a little arc flash. We did find out this box here is connected to nothing. Whoop, hey, Erica. hit this one. I'm gonna pull this screw out of here. Oh, I need your Torx driver. And then this can just drop and go in the trash can. They're all over it. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Full hit. The ants have been eliminated. We got a little trench action going on here. This is all about to vanish. It's just something that happens sometimes. Well, we were also being attacked by wasps. Gosh, this stuff like boils. You can hear it fizzing off. Let's see if I can get in here. Why did they do this? Why did they do it? There it is. Look at that, nothing's holding it. All right, goodbye. Okay, some resilient aluminum there. That's going in the trash.
That's where it gets buried.
Man, sure is nice. Look how clean the pole is. Check that out, you guys. Eric was back here with the old skid steer. It's all cleaned up. The deck is much more cleaned up. The basement is mostly cleaned out. This is almost a continuous grade now. You can drive in and out pretty well. So that's looking good. We're getting that whole new septic system. Like I said, they're gonna come dig all that back out very soon. And over here, I wanna show you guys some tricks. Now, a lot of people wanted to see how to do electrical, and I guess we're gonna show you guys a little bit of what's going on here. Now, when you're punching out these holes, this box is set up for 2.5 inch knockouts. Let me get the camera out of the way there. You know, you got 2.5 all the way out there, 2 right there, and it would have fit some pretty big pipe, but my dad said, make sure it's all 3. And unfortunately, this isn't set up for 3. So what I had to do, because it already had a hole punched in there, is set myself up with this block, and that block is used to pilot. You use it to capture the pilot bit on your hole saw there. When you can't just drill through it because there's no material there. So I screw in that 2x4 that I cut to length, put some deck screws in there, and then I used it to capture my pilot bit right there. And now we have a 3.5 inch hole, which is exactly what we need. And now that I punch this out, make sure you leave a little bit of room for your ring nut on there, because you gotta have a nut on the thing. I can just get that on out of there. It's cleaned up, pull these screws out, and we'll throw in our slip joint here for the meter riser. This is just how I'm doing things. Don't try to do it yourself like this. Basically every disclaimer, you can't use this to wire your own house. Anyway, got my meter riser on there. Time to grab a screwdriver, tighten down our lock nut that I just put on. On top of the lock nut, I'll put our plastic bushing to make sure we don't accidentally strip any insulation. Even though we're not, with our like SEU cable or SER, we're not stripping that insulation off, I promise you that. But and it also, 3 inch will make this easier to pull. That's definitely factual there. But we'll tighten down this nut real quick, and I'm gonna grab a hanger so we can attach that to the pole, and I'll be right back with you guys. There you go, the meter riser's attached. We're ready to shove some PVC up in the bottom of it there and start getting it ran towards the house here. I don't know why this has had so many different knockouts in it over the years, but they've just worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. Luckily, they did include one cover for me because I couldn't find another one at the hardware store there. So we're gonna put that guy right back where he belongs. To do that, you spin off the wing nut, put the inside on there, and spin it back down. How's that look? All cleaned up, ready for some new wire to go in there. And of course, the new wire connections are made right behind this panel that lifts up. And for now, it's still live, running through the weather heads there, because we got to keep the camper alive. We would die if we didn't have some air conditioning to run back to every couple hours. I don't know if I mentioned, but Eric re-landscaped the whole house today too. If you guys can't see, all of the trees, all of the fence, everything. We've pulled them all out. We were just hooking them with the teeth because that Bobcat is incredible. And many of you will be questioning why we didn't trench in our 3-inch pipe here, and the answer to that is simple. All of the soil here is rock, and once we got down to our pipe install depth, we were pulling out slabs of rock, like big flat slabs. It's all basically bedrock. So we were prying them out with the Bobcat and flipping them over into that dirt pile, and that is why we did not use a trencher, because it would not have made it through solid rock. Eric is framing up the bathroom, and he's making some good progress here. Bathroom will be framed up, and obviously I'm ready to set our new breaker panel. It's gonna go right here on this wall. We mentioned it before, but that'll be going in tonight or tomorrow. It's sitting right there. A new 200 amp GE Homeline, Square D Homeline, sorry, with the plug-on neutrals. I am excited to have a plug-on neutral breaker box. It's gonna be super clean inside that panel. Eric's just about got this room framed up here. throwing that last board on, and laser level is actually making this pretty easy. All right, here's our breaker panel prep. This is going in the studs. We're gonna hang it so the sheetrock sits flush with it. So they have knockouts provided for you to have screws into the side of the panel, because there's a lot of ways to mount these. We could have put it on plywood. We could have mounted it in the stud. You know, you can put a sheet across the back and mount it that way. A whole lot of ways to mount your panel. But for this application, I want it to sit inside the sheetrock. So get the knockouts popped out there. I use my hammer and my screwdriver, and then break them off with your pliers, and the panel will be in. The problem is there's no 3-inch knockout in this. 2.5's the biggest one, and unfortunately we brought everything in 3 thinking we'd be able to hook 3 up to this panel. That's not going to happen. We're going to have to reduce before we come through the ceiling, or the floor probably. Eric's giving us a little temporary holder for the panel, so this makes it easy for us to set this thing down and shoot the screws into it. All right, here we go. Oh, that fits nice and tight. Unfortunately, we got all that light right in the camera there, but we'll punch this forward about a 1/2 inch so the sheetrock sits flush with the front of it once we put the cover on. And, well, we're just gonna shoot some screws in right now. Support board coming out. Panel is mounted. Oh, man, that's tight. We leaving that there?
Yeah, some stupid guy didn't want to drill holes in it.
I didn't want to drill holes in it. If you could, tighten that screw 1 hair. Panel's moving. I like it. Still wiggling? No more wiggle? Well, it's time for me to jump in here and start getting knockouts punched out of this thing and populating breakers, because we got to start pulling wire very soon. It'd just be great if we had the service in here. And that is where we are stopping tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got these 2 rooms almost framed up. We did burn all of our 2x4s already. We thought we had a lot, we did not. So we're getting 30 more 2x4s tomorrow. And I think we're gonna end up making a complete Lowe's run and buying even more. Well, we need 2-inch to get into the panel and a few other things. We need a 3-to-2 coupler, a bunch of stuff like that. But this is looking pretty good. This piece of plywood is gonna sit right here. That piece of plywood will have our PEX manifold, also about 40 inches off the floor, right about there, so kind of even with the panel, but far enough away. All of our PEX will come up through the floor from the main and the water heater, come up into the manifold, back down, and then loop over into the bathroom, the kitchen, everything you would need. So that's it. It doesn't actually look like we got that much done, but we did a ton of work in reality. The basement's basically cleaned out. So there you have it. It looks like a disaster in here now because it's full of material, but very soon all the material will go away. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Now for the part you've all been waiting for. We got robbed. Even though I have security down here, cameras, some people found the only place my cameras didn't have a sight line, up here in front of this building. And they stole our trash cans that were sitting right here in that lattice holder. I don't know why anybody would steal that. Pretty messed up. But now we were short another trash can. Luckily I had another one out of there. And the whole holder, which the one thing I liked, the one thing I wanted to keep, they stole that. Everything else here is gone. Look how clean it is. So by the end of this weekend, we'll have this all regraded, and we're also making our executive decision this weekend. Do we rip out this terrible concrete ramp? Like, they poured it with no forms. It doesn't even have edges. It just slopes down on every single side, slopes down. One of the worst things I've ever seen. So I think we're gonna cut it up and pull it out of there, or just lift it until it breaks, because there's probably no rebar in it. And then we'll figure out a real game plan to fill all this in and make something that's pleasing to the eye. Anyway, still crazy we got robbed. I think I'm calling the video that.